Hey guys, Ralph here. Welcome to Terrific Tuesday here in Connecticut. The old guy still has a few swings in him, doesn't he? It's about 400 this morning. Anyway, you saw the thumbnail. Doc influenced us all. Amazing. And with good reason. I'll talk about that. But guys, the influx of not only comments, but emails regarding yesterday's video about how Doc did this, and I heard this recording, and he played this concert, and my teacher, guys, incredible, incredible. How lucky we were. Anyway, that's the subject of the whole thing. Let me get to it. I played a lot, and my chops felt fabulous today. We'll talk about that too. All right, let's see what we got. We'll talk about Doc. Later, guys, and it's still as resonant as can be. Guys, I can't begin to tell you how easy that was. Let's get a little classical. Let's see what we got. Oil your valves, guys. Let's try another lick. So I didn't have to use the third valve. A little unprofessional, a little bit. Anyway, let me expound a little bit more about Doc. I mean, how many videos have we done on him? Anyway, you have to understand, and all you young viewers, okay, and I'm getting more viewers every single day, guys. This is fantastic. I'm just thrilled that this is taken off the way it has. But anyway, all those young viewers, remember, old farts like me that really remember Doc in his prime. Guys, we didn't have social media. We all had our records, our vinyl, that we absolutely wore out. Every single one of us talked about that. Guys, but we didn't have ready access to every single thing that our idols were doing at all. Okay? Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. Now, basically all we had was to run home after our gigs, all right? And because we couldn't even tape the channel for a long time. And we'd run home after and this was legitimate with professional musicians, man. You going to meet me over at the China Song? Nah, I think I'm going to scoot home early and catch a little bit of Doc. I mean, that was very, very common, guys. And basically, all it was a little snippet at the end of a commercial. Once a month, twice a month, maybe they would feature the band. Other than that, it was just a little bit of snippet. Now, all this stuff on YouTube, guys, we didn't have that. But I want you to think about something. As a trumpet player, purely as a trumpet player, think how lucky were that the most visible trumpet player in the world, by far, was Doc. Guys, it could have been anybody. It could have been anybody. Now, if you think back then, guys, it probably could have very easy. The most popular. Doc was the most visible because of the show, but the most popular trumpet player by far was Herb Alpert. Now, I'm not going to knock Herb Alpert. And he could have done a very nice job in that gig. He was a good-looking guy back then, very charismatic in the whole 9 yards, and bright as hell. I mean, he just turned his acumen with music into a huge record. I mean, he's worth almost $1 billion. But he wasn't a trumpet player, Doc was. Caruso and all that, I'm not going there. He wasn't the trumpet player. Not in that stratosphere, guys. Could it have been Maynard? Maybe. He would have done a good job. But I'll tell you what, with the way he led his life, I'm not sure if that would have worked 5 nights a week. Leave it at that. Who else could have been? Could have been Clark Terry. It could have been Clark Terry. And for all this guy's genius, all Clark Terry's genius, and I'm not knocking him, he was not a high-octane, double C level band leader, charismatic, all that sort of stuff. He was not. Now, he played a lot of dates up in the section. Okay? I mean, he would have been fine, but it wouldn't have been Doc. Okay? Could have been Louis Armstrong, maybe. Very, very well known. I'm not sure if the world back then, remember, this is in the 60s and 70s now, I'm not sure if the world back then was were they primed to have a man of color in such a primo position? Probably not. But also, you got to remember, Louis, as great as he was, his thing was Dixieland. And yeah, he could growl some songs, what a wonderful, well, I mean, yeah, charismatic, light up the room, all that sort of stuff. He didn't have the all-around commercial thing. He didn't, that Doc had. And the point is, guys, we all have our stories. You can't believe the beautiful, beautiful stories I got on email about how Doc influenced them. I saw him in an airport once, and he couldn't have been nice. Guys, and that's another thing. Every single person that came in contact with him, only to have him maybe autograph an album or something, all agrees. And I told you my stories. He couldn't be nicer to all of us. I think basically he's a very nice guy. But he also accepted the responsibility of his place in the trumpet world and acted accordingly. I think, you know, and I'll tell you what, the way he went about his craft, I've talked a zillion times, but how many times have every single one of us that is watching this, that knew him back then, just about to put the trumpet away for the evening, and you think, you know what? Doc's still playing, man. Doc is somewhere still practicing in a hotel room, on a flight, still practicing. And all those stories are true. Man, the great Tom DeLibera that I met this summer, played lead with him for a long time. And I'm going back out to Vegas at some point, and I want to touch base with him and take him, he and Perico and Perello and all those guys out to lunch. And Lily, take them all out to lunch. And just pick, and here's the first one to tell you, that's not fiction. All that maniacal practice was absolutely 100% true. He just absolutely tortured himself for his craft to the point of 4 wives, drugs, alcohol. I mean, it wasn't easy, but he just loved playing the trumpet and killed himself. And guys, how many times have I said to a student, even if they didn't know who Doc was, how many times did I say to a student, look, if Doc Severinsen can practice 5 hours a day, who the heck are you? I want some practicing out of you. Do you understand? Well, who's Doc Severinsen? Ask your parents to let you stay up. I mean, I can't, but it's just to have this guy as our leader, our icon, who was so dedicated to the craft and just so great in every sense of the word. If it's the Boston Pops or the Tonight Show Orchestra or his own band or playing, you know, conducting and playing the Minnesota Pops and all that. I mean, Carnival of Venice. I mean, he go from Malaguena to Carnival of Venice. I mean, man, were we lucky to have him all these years. I mean, just so lucky. And to see all these emails where people just talked. Oh, I couldn't wait to hear Doc Severinsen. We saw him over. We traveled all night long to. I mean, you can't believe that the cool things that I heard, all favorable about Doc Severinsen. You wanted something else? One of my friends made a point the other day. We were talking about him, and he said, "You got to understand. Yes, he had his recordings. He had his records." But just about 99% of all the playing he did was live. You think about that. You think about the stones this guy had night in and night out and the confidence he had to perform. And I got to ask you, and you know, I don't even want to know it, but I have never, to this day, heard anybody say, yeah, I spent $50 to go hear Doc Severinsen. It was terrible. He had nothing. We all have a Maynard story about that. I have never heard that about Doc, that he just didn't bring the goods every single night. And I know this is the end of his career. God help us and all that sort of stuff. And I know he doesn't watch this channel. But Doc, if for some reason this ever gets in your view, God bless you. And thank you for everything. You just inspired not one generation, just generations of trumpet players that we're all going to talk about. We're all going to have our lessons with our students. Well, Doc Severinsen did this. You're going to live forever, man. You're going to live forever, and you deserve it, every bit of it. All right, guys. Eat and drink your fruits and vegetables and live your life with true power. Love you all.